Hello again and thanks for tuning in. We're back with the Pro 1 boys in the Gran Turismo Touring Car Championship. Round number 4, so races 7 and 8 if my maths haven't failed me. Probably have, God no, it's too early in the morning. So we'll go through the qualifying grid then. We've got a Dragon Trail double header today. So race number 1 is Dragon Trail Gardens. This is the reverse layout though, so this layout rarely gets used. We've driven it loads of times in the other ways in different series, so the normal way around, which faces well, you can't see it in this, I'll show you later. Well, this is the going backwards layout basically, and it's completely different, trips you out. Yeah, it took quite a while to get used to this circuit. And the other track that we're going to be racing later on is just to the left of your picture, so it is technically right next to this circuit. It would be interesting one day if they joined the two together somehow and we had like a Dragon Trail super circuit. I'd be quite interested in that. Anyway, let's go through the qualifying order then. Of course, everyone in the Aston Martin Vantage. So you've heard of the Burger King, you've heard of the Tiger King, now it's time for the Sausage King. Mr. Chi-Chi stuck it on pole in the monster liveried car. Then you got P. Gibb in the Budweiser car, he's P2, so Gibbo for pole, didn't happen today either. CRT Miggins, he spent last week in the Rookies League, he's been promoted up to Pro 1. We see Miggins before, he's a driver in the Wednesday night league that Neville Cleary operates, so Potter, so that's the GT3 tuning league. Miggins does very well in that, so interested to see how he does in this. My PlayStation teammate GT Raffo's there in 4th, with P1 rear wheel in 5th in the Samsung car. Then you've got the HKS car of Tim, one of my favourite liveries. Then we've got Mr. Piper, he's in the Red Bull team I think, yeah. CJW-Racing from the Michelin team, P8 for him. Then Angus McColl up, another Budweiser entry in 9th. Dominator, another Budweiser liveried car, that's in 10th. I think Dominator's come up from Rookies as well. Suburtus, he's in 11th. I actually don't think he's got a proper livery on that car, I'm not sure yet, we'll see. And then Juicy Ale. Again, I can't see, we'll see. Anyway, Juicy Ale in 11th. I'm not sure where Juicy Ale's come from, I'm not sure if he came from Rookies. So let's crack on with the race. So we have 30 minutes to Dragon Trail Gardens, about 20 laps, sorry. See how the drivers cope with this one. So it's a short one to turn 1, which is a double apex right-hander. Chi-Chi with the inside line should be able to defend suitably until that one gets a good start. Everyone seems to get away well. Chi-Chi's leading us into turn 1. I think it looks like everyone is behaving themselves here. So far, so good. As we see Dominator try and get his way through past Bert. No, it's past Angus McColl up. And Piper there got a really bad getaway. What happened to Piper? I think he might have false started. Piper was 7th. Yeah, he false started. So the penalty for false starting is it basically cuts the power to your engine for a couple of seconds. Right then, so as we head down towards the quadruple left-hander, I love this camera shot that we get here. So all the cars stream into this section for the first time. This is where a lot of mistakes are being made. Drivers will run in wide there where the Pirelli barriers are. Very, very easy to make a mistake there, but so far so good in the Pro 1 League. Everyone seems to be making their way through. Juicy Ale was looking there at the back of CJW-Racing's car. No move got made that time. Pretty much single file everywhere else. So Dominator still trying to stay ahead of Suburtus. Angus McColl up there in the Budweiser car, and Mr. Piper as well trying to make his way through. P. Gibb goes very deep there. That might give Raffo the impetus to go and have a look up in the PlayStation car. Let's just jump on board with Raffo. So this section of the circuit, there's a very large curb on the inside right that you need to avoid at all costs if you want to keep your life. That big red thing there, Raffo actually just clips the edge of that. Fortunately escapes unharmed with that one. And then a long sweeping right-hander to finish the lap. You can't take this full throttle. You have to lift probably about mid to late apex just to get your line right. The penalty for not doing so is exactly what Gibbo did there. He just ran a little bit wide. Most cars handling turn 1 just fine for the first time of asking. So yeah, with Dragon Trail, another thing, well, it's an Aston Martin thing to be fair, but they absolutely chew the tyres up. So once you've done about 10 minutes, the tyres really have gone past their expiry date, and you're just sort of clinging on for dear life. With the tyre multiplier we've got in force, so every lap these guys do takes 4 laps worth of life out of the tyres. We are using Michelin soft tyres here today, and they aren't the most durable tyres anyway. Some drivers even opting to use a super soft compound, either try and nurse them or potentially a 2-stop. Given the pit lane here is so short, a 2-stop is viable, but track position at Gardens means a lot as well. It's not the easiest to overtake in most of the sectors. There are a couple of big braking zones. Down towards the hairpin is one, and down towards turn 1 is another favourite. So we may well see some nice overtakes today. Piper has caught back up to Angus McCollum, so the Red Bull car is going to try and get past. It's the battle of the beverages here at the back with Red Bull v Budweiser. And the Red Bull car has just got a nose in, but looks like he backed out of that. I think Angus was probably expecting the move and gave space. The other beverage that's making their way past is the Monster Energy car. That's ahead of another Budweiser car, and then we've got the PlayStation. As we see Miggins run wide. Miggins probably just getting that last corner just a little bit wrong. It's very, very easily done. He exits blind until you pretty much, yeah, he notices a little bit late, rescues it. He doesn't hit that wall at the edge there, thankfully. But that does like tin through. You can just see the other Dragon Trail track behind us. And his rear wheel there goes very deep. What was that all about? He just got on the brakes light, did he? Oh no, there was a little bit of a tap from Juicy Ale, that's why he waited. As we see another car there going very deep, that was Suburtus. So some drivers just starting to make little mistakes. Now every time they do that, that will take additional life out of the tyres. They're what's called scrubbing the tyre. So essentially it's taking more life out of the tyre than it actually needs to have. Cheech's managed to just break away at the top here now, 37.3, which is a very impressive lap time. For context, I'm in a league higher, and my qualified time here was a 37.2, and I don't think we did a 37.3 in the race. So Cheech has definitely got pace. Pulling away from Pigin. Pigin's probably having to worry a little bit. We did see a mistake from him last time out. He has made a mistake this lap as well, so Pigin without a toe from ahead is a bit of a sitting duck for Rafa, who is looking up the inside now. The PlayStation car just waiting till the last possible moment to pull out. But Pigin's going to be late on the brakes, does miss the apex, but vitally keeps track position, so the Budweiser car lives to fight another day. Miggins now on the back of Tim once more. Oh, as we see Juicy Ale making a mistake there. So this was coming out of the chicane. You kind of have to hook it up on the curb to the left. If you don't do that, you threaten to run it wide. He hooks it up too much and it just bounces the car off. And round he goes. Fortunately, rear wheel able to escape out of the way. Same exit makes his way through as well. And Suburtus is definitely going to have a run on Juicy Ale's car as they come up the main straight. Juicy Ale still with the dirty tyres. Runs it wide out of the last corner as well. Meanwhile, at the top, these boys mostly still behaving. Cheech is starting to escape a little bit. Has started to just slow a little bit now. 38.0 that time round. You just have to start managing the tyres here with the Aston. You can't, under any real circumstances, absolutely nail it for the first few laps, because you'll just kill the tyres straight away. You'll just put too much heat into them and they'll shred themselves to smithereens. So Piper's fought his way up to 10th, although he has gone a little bit deep there, as we've noticed. We will see that from time to time. Dominator's just done the same thing. So is Angus McCollum. So everyone doing the same. Cheechy loves this Aston Martin, doesn't he? He always goes well in this car. Miggins is past Tim. So let's have a look on board Miggins. He's going to go for a little look down at the hairpin. Tim goes narrow. That's going to cost him a little bit of exit speed because he's not going to be able to get the car turned around in time. Miggins does the opposite and just gets the drive out the hairpin. You really want to be on the throttle as soon as possible coming out that hairpin, and if you're defending, that's simply not possible because your exit line's going to be wider. So Miggins back up to 4th then, so that earlier little indiscretion going wide at the last corner almost made up for. He's not too far behind Raffo. As we see, is that Tim? Did he go wide? He got some engine damage. So does he do the same as what Juicy did? Yeah, he's going to hit the barrier too. Oh, slammed into them. This definitely won't get FIA approval this race. But Tim with some engine damage. He's just going to have to get out of the way, I think. Now you can see him looking behind him in the mirror there, just to make sure he's out of the way of other cars. Suburtus gets round the outside as well, but Tim is going to plod on. Someone who is also plodding on is Chi-Chi. As we start the 5th lap now, so a good chunk of the race has already gone. 7 minutes in now, and Chi-Chi's pulled out quite a sizable lead at the top. Let's have a look what that lead is. It's 2.1 seconds. I guess Raffo's dropped back from P-Gib a little bit, so Gibbo can just start to focus now on his lines and maybe try and reduce the deficit a little bit to Chi-Chi. Raffo will of course try the same thing. So the top 4 really have escaped from everyone else now. We've got Rear Wheel sort of in a world of his own. Juicy Ale's done well to get where he is. He's running 6th now, so very impressive drive so far from this driver. A couple of indiscretions of course during the race, but nothing that can't be fixed. It is a long race after all. Suburtus pretty much from the back of the grid as well, so these guys have just kept their nose clean. Angus McCulp unfortunately running at the back of this one. There's a good little battle brewing here between Suburtus, Piper, Sayarexic and Tim. So Tim in the HKS car right at the back of this train after that engine damage. We see the guy ahead just go a little bit wide. That's going to give Piper enough of an impetus just to start driving up to the back of him now. We might see a move attempt to get made here. He goes deep again. Hardly any room at the M here for an overtake, so drivers just have to be patient. Piper's now trying to get down the inside, puts his car in position. That's Suburtus unfortunately shuffled down a position thanks to that, and Sayarexic with 2 cars in 1 move. Let's go and have a look at that from outside the car, because I've got a feeling that's going to look quite good. So you'll see Piper go to the inside. Because of what we said earlier about the inside line not being ideal, Piper just go a little bit deep as well. Actually, that gives Sayarexic the drive out. So good move by Sayarexic, up 2 positions. But he is now going to be punching a hole in the air for the rest of them. You can see Tim's trying to get down the inside of Suburtus now as well. No room there, so has to back out of it. And Suburtus trying to get back down the inside of Piper, manages to do just that. Oh, and again though, the car just picks up a load of that curb is dangerous. That curb he's doing for war crimes. It's took out so many people in this race. So down the inside, yeah, that's nice and tidy. Sayarexic gets a little bit untidy. Well, that shouldn't affect Suburtus' line out. He just catches that curb wrong. Unfortunately for Suburtus, it's going to put him well out of that fight in the range of Angus McCulp. Dominator might be able to start reeling these guys in now. We've got Tim at the back of Piper who's latching on to Sayarexic. Running up a bit further, Juicy Ale has caught up to Rear Wheel. So we might see Juicy Ale go for a move pretty soon. And then Miggins is right on the back of Raffo now. Miggins who just popped in a 37.8 lap time on worn tyres, which is very impressive for Miggins to be doing that. He's having a proper go at the PlayStation car. These two, of course, teammates. So both driving for Team PlayStation, different liveries, so it's sometimes hard to tell, but They are indeed teammates, so this fighting should be kept to a relative minimum. I do know Raffo is a team player because he was like that with me when I was in the league. If either of us were quicker, we'd just let each other go. So let's have a check of the gap at the top. It was 2.1, that was 2.6, so Chichi has extended that gap a little bit more, but he's probably focused a little bit more on just conserving tyres. His pace has slowed a little bit. Raffo's still just ahead of Miggins. Juicy Ale is past. Let's see, did this happen recently? Yeah, it did. So this is early on in the lap. Juicy Ale rear wheel man. Sling it down the inside. It was a nice measured move that. There was a little bit of contact earlier on in the quadruple left-hander, but it was still nicely executed at the end. So that's rear wheel unfortunately down to 6. We've got CJW-Racing still in 7th, so these 3 still unchanged, but Dominator has caught up to the back of them. And Angus McCobe is now past Subertus, who appears to be struggling at this circuit. In terms of pit stops, I would expect everyone to stop. I'm not expecting any no stops here, so pit stop strategy, probably expect most people in at the end of either lap 9 or 10. The undercut here is pretty powerful, so if you can, if you're confident you can look after your tyres, it might be worth coming in a lap earlier, putting in a solid outlap. Now there's a lot of gaps between cars, I mean other than these 4, and just trying to get that. I mean if I was like a Tim or a Piper, I might consider coming in at the end of like lap 9 if CJW-Racing hasn't, and just try and put in some solid laps on fresh tyres. A couple of people tried that in our league and it was relatively successful. So nothing doing between those guys at the minute. Miggins still tucked up behind Raffo. Miggins is last lap of 40.0, so Raffo actually pulled 8 taps on him during that lap. P. Gibb is losing time to Chichi. Raffo's took quite a lot of life out of his tyres compared to Miggins, so he's going to start struggling over the next lap or 2, especially with front end grip. That might be explaining his times. Now dipping into the 39, so yeah, Raffo's starting to struggle just on getting the front end of that Aston Martin turned, and a big lumpy V8 tucked over the front axle of that car. So once the tyres go, the front end just constantly wants to wash out from underneath you. It's very hard to get the car turned in and keep momentum at the same time. But Miggins nice and patient on his execution of this. Who was that went wide? That was P-Gib that went a little bit deep. We'll come back and check on those in a second, but there is, for the time being, there is a Tim trying to attack the Michelin car of CJW-Racing. CJW-Racing tries to show him the door, but has to give the room. Tim is entitled to be that, and is he just going to try and drive around the outside? I think he is. CJW-Racing goes very deep. Tim, for the time being, has to stay put. Right. So it's now Miggins v Raffo. Miggins has decided now is the time to try and get this executed as Juicy Ale pits for fresh boots. Like we said, end of lap 9, a couple of cars are going to try this. They will suffer towards the end of the race. But the sort of theory is that at least while everyone else is like they are now, lapping around on old, worn, dilapidated tyres, they're going to have nice fresh new ones. They'll just have to make sure they look after them towards the end of the race, because otherwise it will die a horrible death. So Miggins now clear of Raffo. Rear wheel back ahead of Juicy Ale, but Juicy Ale has pitted now, is on fresh rubber. No one else seems to have pitted. Angus McCobe, what was happening to... So Angus McCobe has pitted now, and so is Subertus. Subertus has pitted out as well. This is now Piper v Dominator. Dominator goes a little bit deep. And Piper then goes deep at the next corner, so it's evening them both out, but it has lost them both times to Tim and CJW-Racing. So those two starting to drive off into the distance a little bit now. And a lap now. We're about 15 minutes in, so I'm probably expecting some pit stops to start happening at the end of this lap. Those who feel confident in it might leave it an extra lap just to give them the assurance of fresh rubber at the end, but we'll see what they choose to do. I've obviously not watched this yet, so I have no idea what they're going to do. Chi-Chi, he's going to come in. So leader pits. Does P-Gib match him or does he try and carry on? P-Gib is going to match him. Miggins is going to carry on, actually. Miggins has done well on his tyres. Raffo's going to carry on as well. That surprises me. Rear wheel, just come around the last corner now. He will also pit. UCL will carry on and reclaim that position. So most drivers are going to pit. Miggins, as soon as the leader of the race, his tyres are alright. Like, they're not fresh as a daisy, but he's done a good job of looking after them in the first stint. Miggins, you need to tell me your secrets. Now the problem here is, Chi-Chi needs to get this move made sharpish because he needs this and the next lap really to count. He's going to try and drop one up the inside of Raffo. Raffo actually quite compliant to it, doesn't hold him up. He knows that's not his battle to be winning. And then P-Gib's going to be the next one to try and drive up to Raffo. So we have still got some pits to happen. A couple of cars that still have to come in. But most of the field now, most of the field have been in for fresh tyres. Just watching Miggins towards the end of lap 10. He's yet to pit. He brakes really late coming down to the chicane. Ends up going off-road, clattering the barrier. Free overtake for Chi-Chi and importantly for Raffo. So Raffo now takes that place off Miggins. Of course, they'll both pit and hand that over to P-Gib. They should both still come out ahead of Juicy Ale. As Miggins goes off-road again. Those tyres had seen better days at that point. I think they were still in good shape. It just put them through a bit of a heat cycle and it just reduces the grip. So Juicy Ale comes up. Oh, actually Juicy Ale jumps Miggins in the pits. He's gonna get out just ahead of Raffo. Raffo might have the inside line and be able to defend that. He's going to have the inside line for the quadruple left-hander. So Juicy Ale there, just by pitting a fair bit earlier, is stuck in some solid laps, and look at the amount of time he's coming back. Now this will put pay to him at the end of the race. He'll have more tyre wear at the end, but track position here matters. So this might well pay off for Juicy Ale. Let's wait and see. We have about another 12 odd minutes remaining of the race, so plenty of time for stuff to happen yet. In terms of pits, let's have a flick through. Tim, and Tim and CJW-Racing. Oh, what's going on here? What's going on here? I was just flicking through to see if everyone had pitted. CJW-Racing's already going deep there. He's trying to rescue himself. Tim sort of follows him through in sympathy. He's going to put pipe up his chuff, I'm afraid. So Tim's just ran himself off-road there under no real pressure. Everyone has now pitted, but everyone's pitted at different stages. So I'll be watching Juicy Ale with a keen eye. He's already starting to see some tyre wear on those super soft tyres. So they'll have superior grip. But they will also have a monumental tyre drop-off period. As Raffo sends himself skywards off the curb there. So Raffo's on the soft, so is Miggins. These tyres should be a little bit more durable than the super softs, but not as fast over a single lap. I'll be honest, I ran the softs and I did find them to be a little bit more predictable with the way that they went off. The super softs, they just fall off a cliff. It's very, very, very hard to keep them in a window. Some drivers can do it. Some drivers are very good at saving tyres. It's unfortunately not a skill I possess. So we've got a little bit of field spread. Suburtus takes himself off-road again, and the main fight really is going to be between these guys again. Raffo v Miggins version 2. So the PlayStation teammates, who really don't want to be holding themselves up, could be getting caught by rear wheel potentially. But their immediate concern's got to be not letting Juicy Ale escape away. These guys just need to work together right now. So far, nothing new between those guys. The Sausage King himself still leading the way out in front. He's got just over 10 minutes now to keep this position, and with that position comes a 4.5 second gap back to P-Gib. So P-Gib has just set his fastest lap of the race of 38.1. Cheat Sheet this time round is going to set a 38.0. P-Gib this time round is going to set a 38.6. So Cheat Sheet is pulling away. Juicy Ale though, on those soft tyres, sets the fastest lap of the race, 37.066 on super softs, but those tyres will drop off. Miggins with a 37.7, so the pace is good here in the Pro 1 lobby. Like, you can tell some of these boys are really chopped in the hours. Feeling the Miggins v Raffo fight might carry on for a little while yet. Rear wheel's sort of on his own at the minute, no cars to directly battle with, so he's just got to keep his focus levels up. CJW-Racing continued ahead of Tim. The gap between those two continues to remain consistent. You've got Piper with Dominator not too far behind. Certainly within mistake range, as I call it, so if Piper was to drop it, Dominator would take advantage of that. Suburtus in the pit. Oh, I've let my tea go cold. Well, lukewarm. Apologies if you hear some gulping. I'm not some Super GT 30,000 subscribers, like Lord of Commentary. I've got 300 subscribers and I do it through Chair Factory to me. On 8th then, keeping a keen eye on Juicy Ale's tyre wear. So probably about 5 or 6 laps remaining. He's starting to feel the pain of the tyres just a little bit. It's not drastic yet. With the super softs it tends to come in a lump, so one lap you'll just make a mistake, scrub them and that's it. They're in an irreversible heat cycle that you cannot escape from, and they just don't have the grip anymore. While he's got the grip, he's got to take advantage of it, because Miggins and Raffo look to have at least temporarily put aside their feud. Miggins is ahead of Raffo. Did that happen before? Let me just have a little rewind and check. I went back and had a look. Raffo just got the last corner, tiny bit wrong, had to back off, gave Miggins, who got a really good run, the opportunity just to drive up the inside on the main straight. So didn't really go back and record it, didn't really feel it necessary. So let's have a little bit of a field recap as we close in on 8 minutes remaining and we start the lap number 14. So Cheat Sheet is leading the way, has done pretty much since the start. Has done a really good job of this one so far. P-Gib in second, has held second pretty much throughout the race. Thankfully a lot of the guys behind him have been scrapping away, so he's just been able to scalp off down the road. Juicy Ale with a superb pit strategy, has 8 minutes to just keep third place, but the guys behind are looking to change that, so the guys behind are still putting the foot down with Miggins and Raffo. Then you got Rear Wheel, as we said a few moments ago, just out on his lonesome. CJW-Racing just ahead of Tim. We've got Piper and Dominator battling away. So Dominator slides up the inside of Piper now. But will this continue into the quadruple left-hander, I wonder? Now Piper actually stays put for the time being. And then we've got Angus McCall up in 11th. And Suburtus, who I assume is doing a 2-stop, he's in 12th, but he should be on the fast tyres now and just probably be able to make up a little bit of space. But he hasn't had the cleanest of races. So that's your field recap as we come towards the end of the race. Probably a handful of laps remaining and plenty of time for this order to change yet. Raffo v Miggins is getting a bit hot again. At this stage on lap 15, just over 5 minutes of the moat race remaining. Raffo's been looking increasingly like he might try and move against Miggins on. Miggins just catches a bit too much sausage. Hopefully the first and last time I end up saying that on this channel, and gets a drive down the inside. So going into the last corner, the inside line is what you really want here. Miggins does have to back out of that a lot more than he wants to, but could get the drive back. Juicy Ale pits, so those tyres have obviously seen better days for him. What else is happening here? Let's have a look. So yeah, Juicy Ale pits. Looks like Miggins might try and go up the insides. So Miggins and Raffo side by side up the main straight, not for the first time. Juicy Ale's going to come back behind. Juicy Ale's going to be on fresh tyres now though, just behind these guys. So that might have just been a safety stop for Juicy Ale. Noticing the gap coming down between them. So let's see what Juicy Ale can do with this. Gap isn't too much, if these two start scrapping it'll play right into his hands. Raffo has started to take quite a bit of life out of his tyres. Miggins is again doing quite a good job of managing them. So if Miggins manages to get past Raffo, he should be safe from the other car, but it's easier said than done, because yeah, Raffo's not exactly rolling over for him, is he? CJW-Racing and Tim, still these guys are tied together, still they fight. So with Dominator and Piper battling throughout the field here in Pro 1. Someone who doesn't necessarily need to worry about any of that nonsense though is Chi-Chi. He's still escaping away at the front. P-Gib also having equal success at the front as well. Let's have a look at these three. Does Juicy Ale on the fresher tyres? He does go for a move down the inside of Miggins. Oh, he gets the back end all loose, but it ends up being quite a good move. Let's have a look. Very much a lick the stamp and send it sort of move. Miggins is there being defensive. He sweeps back over. That opens the door for Juicy Ale a little bit. And yeah, granted it was a little bit on the scruffy side, but there were no contact. I have a feeling Miggins probably saw that one coming. Now Juicy Ale can go on the attack against Raffo. So Raffo's tyres have seen better days. We want to cling on to this final podium position, but Juicy Ale will try and drive up the inside. Miggins goes wide at the final corner. Does Juicy Ale look down the inside? He has a look. That's a door that's always going to close though. In fairness to Raffo, it gives him the room. Juicy Ale is able to drive up the inside. Quadruple left-hander now. Raffo's just going to hang in the coattails of the car ahead. A little bit of lag now we saw from Juicy Ale's car. That does happen from time to time in these lobbies. This is because GT Sport's investment in their public lobby system is, let's just say, minimal at best. Hosting these leagues is an absolute pain in the backside with the investment that GT Sport provide to it. So you're actually going deep there during the quadruple left-hander. Again, it's starting to get very close throughout the field. Tim goes a little bit wide, ends up rescuing it. There's a nice little fight. It's kicking off all the way through. That was a nice little safety stop by Juicy Ale though. I quite liked how he executed that. It did come without his risk because there's minimal time left. I mean, we've just got 2 minutes left, so just 2 more laps really. The chances of him getting caught at the time, not the highest. He was knocking in 37 still, but he's got some real pace about him as that driver. It's the thing, if you can get used to the car, if you can get used to the way the Aston drives, there's a lot of pace in that car. Tim again looking down the inside of CJW-Racing. CJW-Racing's having to go defensive here. Tim might try and drive around the outside of him. Tim does indeed try that. Despite how wide the corner is, there's really only one optimal line through it. So getting a move done around the outside's very impressive, and that's just what Tim's done. He's up to 7th. Although the tyres on his car looking very worse for wear, and they will be crying out in pain, especially during that last corner. But even now, starting to really feel the strain of the pressures that are being put under them. Dominator v Piper looks to have settled down a little bit. There's a little bit of a gap between those guys. Chichi's still leading the way. He'll get another lap under his belt, I think. That's coming to put a lap on another car here. You do wonder what Juicy Ale could have achieved had he got a good qualifying in with the pace he's got. He's kind of been lucky when he's come out in relatively decent positions, but that being said, still a very impressive drive. I've not seen another low 37. So no doubt when Seamus does his average lap count thing, he'll probably be quite high on that, but we'll see. So Rear Wheel has finished the race in 6th. Tim will finish the race ahead of CJW-Racing in 7th position. They'll be side by side across the line, very close between those two. Dominator in the end emerges victorious against Piper. Angus McCall will finish 11th, and Suburtus will finish 12th. So Miggins is running out of chances to get past Raffo if he does want those additional points. But the man who's dominated the race, start to finish, got pole position, and saw that all the way through to the checkered flag, providing that he doesn't bin it off in the next couple of corners. So a well done to Chi for bringing home the W. So that's another win for Chi, who's turned a page in this league now. P Gibb solidifies a 2nd place. It's a good result for the Budweiser team. Juicy Ale, a 3rd position. Great drive for Juicy Ale, one of my drivers of the day easily. Raffo just ahead of Miggins, and Miggins in 5th.